May 1943. A month known to the U-boat crews of the Kriegsmarine as Black May. In just 30 days, 41 German submarines were destroyed by a combination of Allied sonar, centimetric radar, and relentless air cover from the new escort carriers. For Admiral Karl Dönitz and his Grey Wolves, the war at sea was effectively over. The Allies had cracked the Enigma code, mastered the Atlantic, and were now slaughtering the German fleet with industrial efficiency. But as the existing fleet was being decimated, a new predator was being forged in the industrial heart of the Reich. This was the Type 21 Electroboot. It was not merely an improvement on the Type 7 or Type 9, it was a total paradigm shift. It was the world's first true submarine. Older submarines were essentially surface ships that could briefly hide underwater. They spent 90% of their time on the surface, recharging batteries and running diesels. But the Type 21 was designed to live, hunt and fight entirely beneath the waves. Its hull was perfectly streamlined, lacking the deck guns and clutter that created drag. This allowed it to reach underwater speeds of over 17 knots, fast enough to outrun the very escort ships meant to be hunting it. The heart of this beast was its massive battery capacity, 3 times that of its predecessors. Combined with the revolutionary Schnorkel device, a Type 21 could cross the Atlantic without ever fully surfacing. It also featured the world's first hydraulic torpedo reloading system, allowing it to fire 18 torpedoes in under 20 minutes. To an Allied sonar operator, it was a ghost that could strike with the power of a whole wolf pack and then vanish into the deep at a speed they couldn't match. In our reality, the first Type 21 didn't go on patrol until late April 1945, just days before the end of the war. But after the war, Albert Speer, Hitler's Minister of Armaments, made a startling claim. He stated that if the program had been prioritized and streamlined as a high-prestige project in 1943, these boats could have been ready for combat by May 1944. This brings us to the ultimate 11th hour scenario. What would have happened if a pack of 20 Type 21 submarines had been active in the English Channel in June 1944? On the morning of D-Day, the Channel was the most crowded body of water in human history. Thousands of ships, troop carriers, fuel tankers, and ammunition ships were funneling into a narrow corridor. In our history, the older German submarines were too slow and too vulnerable to air attack to even approach this area. They were easily detected and destroyed by the massive Allied air umbrella. But the Type 21 would have been invisible to that air cover. It could have sat on the seabed at the mouth of the channel, waiting in total silence. As the slow-moving Allied convoys passed overhead, these predators could have unleashed a massacre. The logistical backbone of Operation Overlord was incredibly fragile. The invasion relied on a constant, uninterrupted flow of supplies from England to the beaches of Normandy. If even a handful of Type 21 boats had severed that line, sinking the fuel tankers or the ships carrying the vital Mulberry Harbour sections, the entire invasion could have collapsed into a logistical nightmare. Admiral Dönitz later remarked that with a fleet of Type 21s, he could have restarted the Battle of the Atlantic and forced the Allies back to the drawing board. But the electro boot was a victim of its own complexity, its revolutionary modular construction, where different sections were built in factories across Germany and then brought together for final assembly, was constantly delayed by Allied bombing and the sheer chaos of a collapsing Reich. The Type 21 remains a chilling reminder of how close the technological race truly was. It was a weapon from the future, delivered at the 11th hour to a nation that had already run out of time. Next time on the 11th hour, WW2, we look at the Maus, Germany's 188-ton super heavy tank. Subscribe to join the archive and never miss a deep dive into the history that almost was.